Okay, so welcome officially everyone to the first day of the Ask Letting Go Club program. Just finished the course. This is day one of the follow-up program, and we're going to be focusing this year on doing the text, reading, discussing, translating, personalizing, personally summarizing, and meditating on. It's really profound. It's very, very powerful text, which we're going to translate for future years. So we'll have for this in years to come. So without further ado, let me share my screen with you. The right one up. Okay, turn to projection. All right, so can you all see the screen? Okay, so this one is section 2 of chapter 6, called the alternative to projection. Okay, John said he can't make it today. So let's read, this is 13 paragraphs, so we'll see how we go. If we don't finish it, I'll finish it on my own, but let's see if we can speed it up. So what I suggest is let's read the alternative. Are you happy to just read the alternative?
Yeah.
Let's read the alternative. The translations are mostly done. If there's anything else that needs to be done, we can do it as we go along, and then we'll personalize it. And I think it's quite powerful to read that personal summary individually. So everyone reads it. Everyone whoever's read the paragraph reads that. I'll record that, and then I'll produce that into a meditation, which if we don't have time to do, I'll send afterwards. So that way we can get more done in less time. Okay, so Sally, do you want to kick it off with paragraph 1, please?
Any split in mind must involve a rejection of part of it, and this is the belief in separation. Yeah. The wholeness. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah.
The wholeness of pure formless awareness of perfect love, which is its peace, cannot be appreciated except by a whole mind that recognizes the wholeness of pure formless awareness of perfect love's creation.
Yeah, so I'll just make that a bit
extension.
Just perfect love. Yeah. Perfect love's extension. Okay. Next one.
By this recognition, it knows its extension. Its source. Exclusion and separation are synonymous, as are separation and disassociation. Separation are synonymous, as are separation and disassociation. Yeah. Okay. Sort of.
Okay. You understand what he's saying?
It's hurting my mind.
Okay. So exclusion and separation are synonymous. So if you exclude anyone or anything, then that implies separation, because you have to separate in order to exclude. You can't exclude from oneness, because oneness is oneness. There's no exclusion. Exclusion is not possible, as are separation and dissociation. So whenever you dissociate the truth, then you must have separated from it. You know, it's like, okay, the truth's off there, I'm here. There has to be separation in both exclusion and dissociation.
Okay. We have said before that the separation was and is disassociation, and that once it occurs, projection becomes its main defense, or the device that keeps it going. Okay.
Yeah. So
It's a funny way of saying it,
projection.
but yeah, okay. Vaguely get it.
Projection. So projection is its main defense,
Yeah.
which is, remember, projection is taking those ideas and putting them outside of the mind. So instead of saying, well, this is my own belief, you go, no, it's somewhere outside of me. And you see it outside of your mind. So you've literally gone out of your mind. And that mechanism, projection, is exactly what keeps the ego going. Because now the beliefs are not seen within, they're projected out. And it's all seen as outside.
Yeah.
So you're literally then out of your mind, and your mind is in a false reality. Not within, but out, and you're seeing everything outside. That was how the whole thing was made, was this projection mechanism. And beliefs being projected out.
Mm.
Yeah, a false world. You know, we made up a illusory universe. So projection then within that keeps it going, because as long as you project your beliefs outwards, you maintain the belief in separation. You don't undo it. And that keeps the whole game going.
Mm.
Main defense, or the device that keeps it going. Okay? So it's very key to the ego's defense. Because if you simply realize that the ego is false, it's just a belief and it's false, you could let it go, couldn't you? Well, it's just a false belief, so what's the big deal? But with a whole, defense mechanism, this projection being the world that you perceive, it seems to be quite difficult to let it go.
Mm.
Belief has become seemingly real, projected out of the mind.
Yeah, I think for me, what was happening was that all these thoughts had joined together and made quite a compact illusion. And it's difficult to let go of a great big illusion. But when I had my realization on Thursday that everything's thought, and that you can just have individual thoughts, they don't have to join together and make this big illusion, that it's easier to let go of a thought because it wasn't attached to the other thoughts. So, so I was just trying to get these words to match my experience, how I perceive it. But at the time, it was so difficult. You kept showing them the Descent from Hell picture, and it's like, I know what you're saying, but I don't feel that. And now it's like, well, yeah, it's quite obvious.
It's obvious when you're ready. That's how it goes. It's penetrating through the layers of defense, resistance to this truth, which is the whole projection mechanism. So I think that's quite a key insight, actually, to say that thoughts are just, they kind of individual, disconnected, random. They have no real source, and they're not part of a thought system.
And they're not me. I believe they were me. I believe these thoughts were randomly around. I was taking hold of them and owning them and making them Sally. I'm the person that can't quite get that to work, or I'm not very good at that, or whatever. And I own them so wholly. And now my perception is you don't need to. They're not real, those thoughts. It's difficult to put into words, isn't it? But it's so much easier now. I'm still getting used to the perspective of it, but yeah,
Mm.
it's a lot
It's,
easier.
it's a very new world, very new way of looking at things.
Mm.
Okay, so shall we so we personalize this? Let's personalize it.
Any split in my mind involves me rejecting a part of myself, a part of it, maybe.
Yeah, part of my mind.
There isn't a myself, is there? That was the whole problem in the first place, believing there was a myself.
This is my belief.
This is my belief.
Separation.
The wholeness of perfect love, which is its peace, cannot be appreciated except by my whole mind that recognizes the wholeness of perfect love's extension.
How about make it active? I cannot
Appreciate the wholeness of perfect love.
Perfect love, which is its peace, except with my whole mind. Recognizes the wholeness of perfect love's extension. So it's much better because it's active.
Yeah. By this recognition, I know source. I am source. My mind.
Talks about my mind. So my mind, keep this my mind.
My mind.
My mind knows its source. And then we'll capitalize its because the mind that knows its source is the Christ mind, the one mind, which is capitalized.
Okay. Exclusion and separation are synonymous. Don't like that word much. As are separation and disassociation. Exclusion and separation are the same.
Anonymous. Yeah.
Are separation and disassociation. Yeah, it's just a funny way of saying it to me, but maybe it's just not how my mind works.
Synonymous really mean, it doesn't mean the same. Let's just check it out. Synonymous, having the same meaning as another word or phrase in the same language.
Can we just say
having the same meaning or suggestive of something. So exclusion and separation
are the same?
And what about exclusion is based on separation?
Yeah. Yeah, that works for me.
I think that's quite good.
Yeah.
It's based on separation is the fundamental principle. It's based on separation as how about exclusion and dissociation?
It's based on separation.
Based on separation.
Yeah. We have said before that the separation was and is disassociation.
Yes, we can take up that we have said before. Separation was and is dissociation.
And that once I project,
once it occurs,
Projection becomes its main defense. Projection becomes my main defense. Or the device that keeps it going.
Or the device I use to keep it going.
However, the reason may not be so obvious as you think. That's a mysterious phrase, isn't it?
Once it seems to occur, separation wasn't his dissociation. Once it seems to occur, projection becomes my main defense, the device I use to keep it going.
You need that last sentence in, however, the reason may not be so obvious as you think, because we're going to come to that bit anyway, aren't we?
Yeah, probably. Okay. So I think maybe we'll just reverse order, but say the meaning of it. What's the summary of it, and then we'll.
When I split my mind, I reject a part.
Okay. Do you want to go back? I'm just trying to record something that's not going to record. There we go. Yeah. Gonna work. Okay. So something's gone wrong with something. My recording device. Maybe it's because it's still playing. Something like that. Yeah, okay. Maybe it'll work out. Okay. So what we're also going to do is record your summary, and then that can either be available as a little clip online, or it can be or it can be transcribed.
I think the clip of you explaining it is what needs recording, not our mumblings trying to work it out in our minds.
Well, I usually come in and say something, so it's a joint effort. Okay, so what is he? What's he saying in this first paragraph in summary?
Saying, when I split my mind, I reject a part. And then I'm not in peace. I can't remember who I am because I'm disassociated from it.
So exclusion, and I think the important point here is that exclusion and dissociation are both based on separation. So whenever I find myself excluding and dissociating from the truth, then separation is present. And then projection becomes its main defense. So now I project that decision to separate outwards, and I project it onto other people and things outside of me. And I say, well, it's not me that's doing this to me, it's the outside world. Someone's attacking me, someone's hurting me. It's not me, it's happening to me. So then my decision to separate is protected, because I'm not really looking at it and saying, well, it's actually my own decision. That's the problem here. I then perceive the problem as outside of me, which is rather ingenious of the ego. So it gets us to try and solve all of our problems externally to us, when in fact the problem is only in our own mind. The problem is the separation from love in our own mind. And the projection mechanism keeps that going. So we have to be really aware of the temptation to project out of our minds, literally go out of our minds, because that keeps this whole game going. Okay, does that make sense? Any
Yes.
questions on
And
that?
some part of me says yes, and another part of me goes, oh, that's stretching something within me.
Is it?
Mm.
Okay. Well, that's good. It's meant to stretch something within you. You can't quite get it. It's like, okay, we'll just kind of allow it to permeate. And if we do the little meditation on the paragraph, then maybe something else drops in.
Mm.
So just read it aloud from the top, quite, just at a normal pace to make sure it's okay, and then we'll read it slowly to meditate on it.
Any split in my mind must involve a rejection of part of it. And this is my belief in separation. I cannot be appreciate, that's not quite right. I cannot appreciate the wholeness of perfect love, which is its peace, except with my whole mind, which recognizes the wholeness of perfect love's extension. By this recognition, my mind knows its source. Exclusion and disassociation are based on separation. The separation was and is disassociation. Once it seems to occur, projection becomes my main defense or the device I use to keep it going.
Yeah, I think that's all right. Just change that. My mind knows its source by this recognition. Just put it, reverse the order there. There was an error here. Almost, cannot appreciate. So the question is, I wonder if we should leave there's a translated version, which I could update like this. It doesn't really work if you don't personalize it. So I think we'll leave. Yeah. So there's degrees of it. There's a translation here, which is a variation on this, and then if you go into the personalized version, it's even more. More so. It's more of a departure. Personalized, and then people can read whichever version they want, or all three. I think if you read all three, you're going to get hopefully a much deeper dive, and then the little meditation clip on it, and then a summary discussion on it. I think that's ultimately what I want to do. So each paragraph, you could have these little resources. It'd be amazing, wouldn't it, to be able to access all of that. Okay, so any splits in my mind? We're happy with that one. Do you want to just guide us through a little meditation affirmation on that slowly? So give me a moment. Let's just okay. So off you go.
Any split in my mind must involve a rejection of part of it. And this is my belief in separation. I cannot appreciate the wholeness of perfect love, which is its peace, except with my whole mind that recognizes the wholeness of perfect love's extension. My mind knows it's a source by this recognition. Exclusion and disassociation are based on separation. The separation was and is disassociation. Once it seems to occur, projection becomes my main defense, or the device I use to keep it going.
So it is.
So it is. Yeah, I felt that sink in better saying it slowly.
Hmm.
Yeah, it made sense.
Good. Yeah. So maybe what I'll do in future is just ask people to close their eyes, take a deep breath in, and then we'll go with it. Okay, that could work. And then repeat it aloud to yourself. Okay, so we're happy to move to number 2.
Yeah.
Once you project, you disown. So who would like to read this one?
Shall I go? Because I do need to pop out for an hour. I mean, I can't come back later. Shall I do this one so that, yeah.
Great, yeah, do it.
Okay. Starting with the alternative.
Yeah, I'm not sure there'll be that much to translate actually in this one. What you project, you disown. So yeah, just go into the alternative.
Okay. What you project, you disown, and therefore do not believe is yours.
Yeah.
Shall I continue?
Yeah, I think so. Therefore, do not believe. It's pretty clear. You know, if you disown something, you don't believe it's yours.
Yeah. You're excluding yourself by the very judgment that you are different from the one on whom you project. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Excluding yourself because you're projecting out onto someone. Usually that's in the form of some kind of blame, attack thought.
Yeah.
And then by the very judgment that you're different from the one on whom you project, you exclude yourself from oneness because you've separated from that person.
Despite their behavior, yeah, it's still you projecting. Yeah.
It's still you deciding, making a decision to perceive it in a way that confirms the separation.
Yeah.
In your own mind. So then you feel separate from them.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, whatever they do, it's still a decision in your mind how you respond to that.
Yeah.
And that's the essence of this teaching. Take the responsibility to make a different choice than the ego, which we've chosen over and over and over again. So we've chosen separation many, many times. And it doesn't work. So we have to make a different choice in every situation. Okay, so number 3.
Since you have judged against what you project, you continue to attack it because you continue to keep it separated.
Yeah, does that make sense? Since you've also judged against what you project. The projection and attack are very synonymous.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Does that include you on yourself as well? Not just, it's just my sister's been on the phone and her sister-in-law's got awful cancer and she's really attacking herself and really, so is that the same? That the same?
Judges
You know,
against what you project. Yeah. So
Yeah.
remember, the body is a projection of the mind. So in the sense, in that instance, the projection is a body, and then the mind's attacking your body.
Right. Yeah. So
Continue
it's the
to
same
keep
whether
it
it's
separated.
your
Whether it's
body
your
or
own body. Yeah. Well, the body isn't real. So it's just a projection of the mind.
right. So
You're not your body. Yeah. So it doesn't matter what you project onto. As long as the projection mechanism continues, then there's an attack going on. Continue to attack it because you continue to keep it separated.
Hmm.
You judge against what you project. You say this isn't right. It's bad. It's evil. It's wrong. It's not for me.
Not fair.
Whatever
Not
it is, not
Yeah.
fair. So on.
Why me? Yeah.
You're actually attacking it in your perception. When you judge against what you project, then you're attacking it
Hmm.
because you continue to keep it separated. Okay? So attack is an attack on the integrity of truth, on oneness. You continue to keep it separated in your mind is an attack on oneness. Remember, this all stems from an attack on oneness, ultimately.
Hmm.
That's the delusion. We seemingly attacked oneness and said, no, oneness is no longer true. Something else is true. That's a direct attack on it. So that attack just continues. We keep projecting outwards now, out of our minds, onto something, someone else. We continue to attack this to keep it separated, which maintains the separation in our mind.
Hmm. Takes a lot of mind training though when you've been diagnosed with, a life-threatening tumor. Takes a lot of mind training, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's quite a big test because you've got to recognize that you're not a body. I'm not a body. So whatever happens to the body isn't really happening to me, even though I might be experiencing the effects of what's happening in the body. I can feel it, experience the side effects of whatever the illness is and treatment and so on. This is not me. So we don't personally identify with it.
Right, and that's where
That's really the
difficulty
key.
lies.
Personal identification. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your mind gets involved. Say, oh, this is happening to me. And then the little me gets
Scared. Yeah.
It's upset and it gets angry and it gets fearful, makes the whole situation real to it.
Right. Hmm. Yeah.
But it's all just delusion in the mind. It's not true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's projection and attack go hand in hand, is what he's saying.
Yeah. By doing this unconsciously, you try to keep the fact that you attacked yourself out of awareness and thus imagine that you have made yourself safe. Doing this unconsciously. Sorry, don't quite get that one.
Understand what he's saying in number 4?
By doing this unconsciously, projecting they're talking about. You tried. I say yes, now get it. Yeah.
Okay, so what's he saying in this paragraph? In summary.
Well, by projection and disowning your where's the paragraph?
Sorry, I'm just going to record it. Yeah, by projection or disowning.
You're excluding yourself with judgment, and you're different from the one whom you projected.
whom you
since
project on. So projection on someone is like blame, attack, accusation, blame, complaint. You're projecting on them.
Yeah. And by doing this unconsciously, you're attacking yourself out of your awareness. And thus imagine you've made yourself safe.
Oh, so keep trying to attack yourself out of awareness. Imagine you've made yourself safe. So all very kind of cunning and devious as the ego is. So we don't recognize that we've attacked ourselves. Belief in separation is an attack on self.
Mm-hmm.
We try and cover that over by imagining that we've made ourselves safe. So remember the fundamental desire of the ego is to project the guilt. Right? We think we're guilty for the separation. So let's go have a look at our diagram again. Let's find the right one. Into how we think we're guilty for the separation. Because we've destroyed love. And now that guilt is so terrible for the ego that it has to try and get rid of it. So it has to try and project it out. And that projection we call blame, accusation, blame, complaint, attack on someone or something else. Because that projects our guilt outwards onto that personal thing. And then seemingly we've got rid of it. This is what the ego tells you. Then you've got rid of the guilt and someone else is guilty. You're not the guilty one. They are. So you get rid of the guilt that way and you get to keep your individual identity. You see how the mechanism works.
Yeah.
But in truth, you've just perpetuated the guilt. So the more you feel guilty, the more you give guilt, the more you're going to feel guilty. You don't escape guilt by giving it, because you actually reinforce it. You can keep giving something. What are you saying? Well, I've got heaps of it to give. So the more I give guilt, the more I'm actually reinforcing the guilt. It's a vicious cycle. You have to start questioning this and say, no, I'm not going to project my guilt onto anyone else. And because I'm not really guilty. How can I project what's not justified? I'm not sinful. I didn't do anything wrong because the separation never happened. So there's no guilt. Therefore, there's no guilt to project. So I can't accuse, blame, and complain if there's nothing there to project. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Very clear.
Can I try and say something here?
Sure.
A parallel or an antidote to when Elaine mentioned someone having a tumor.
Oh, yes.
And how we project out and sort of fight it. I recently had a friend who's on his deathbed now,
Right.
who handled it differently in that when he 3 weeks ago was diagnosed with lung cancer, he is 88.
Oh, wow.
They wanted to put him in hospital and they wanted to do a biopsy. He said no. And he just accepted. Well, they didn't diagnose because they wanted to do the biopsy because they suspected it was lung cancer. It was just a dark mass.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't need to confirm it in his mind that it was lung cancer, he just accepted it and said, no, I don't want a biopsy. I'll just go with it.
Right.
Okay.
Is that a
Right.
kind of correcting the mind and just accepting that I'm not this body and this is my time to go?
Yeah, if he's at peace with it, he's made peace with it, and
It
he's
seems like it did, yes. With the-
and he's saying, well, why I'm 88? Why try and save the body for a few more years? Why not just accept this is how I'm going to exit, and that's fine. I'm ready to go. So
yes.
why try and save a diseased body for a few years more of so-called life in this illusory world? So yeah, he's not believing then in the projection, and that is healing. That's a healing approach for the mind. Yeah.
Yes.
And it may well heal his body, or it may not. He might be quite happy just to let his body go.
Yes.
That's okay. We judge things from a human perspective. We go, well, healing the body is good, and not healing the body and death is a failure. But it's not. That's just a distorted perspective. Actually, if he goes peacefully, we've all got to die. If he dies peacefully, then it's no failure.
Janice is 63 and she's just had a grandchild and she's got lots to live for. And so she's now super scared. She's really scared. Not eating and really, whoa. So she's the opposite to the gentleman who's at peace and, she's the other way. She's fighting it. But it's not doing her any good because she's not eating and making herself worse. Yeah.
So that's
the
attack mechanism.
Mind. Yeah, the untrained
projection. You can project onto your own body.
Yeah.
And then try and keep the fact that you attacked yourself out of awareness.
Yeah.
Try and keep it out of your own awareness.
Mm.
Okay, so thanks for sharing that, Christine. Shall we just personalize this and okay, so what you project, you disown. Therefore, do not believe is yours. So what I project. Do you want to help me as we go along?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Just that.
What I project, I disown, and therefore do not believe is mine. I am excluding myself by the very judgment that I am different from the one on whom I project. Since I have also judged against what I project, I continue to attack it because I continue to keep it separated. By doing this unconsciously, I unconsciously,
By doing this unconsciously,
yeah, I try to keep the fact that I attacked myself out of awareness. and thus imagine that I have made myself safe.
Okay. So just read that through from the top. Make sure you're happy with that.
What I project, I disown, and therefore do not believe is mine. I'm excluding myself by the very judgment that I am different from the one on whom I project. Since I have also judged against what I project, I continue to attack it because I can continue to keep it separated. By doing this unconsciously, I try to keep the fact that I attacked myself out of awareness, and so imagine that I have made myself safe.
Okay. I think that's okay. So do you want to read that for us in personalized form?
Yeah.
So let me just get the recording going. 2 minutes, that one, okay. All right.
Slowly.
So take a nice deep breath in, everyone. Close your eyes and then just repeat the words in the gaps after Elaine to yourself.
What I project, I disown, and therefore do not believe is mine. I am excluding myself by the very judgment that I am different from the one on whom I project.
I'm excluding myself from the very judgment that I am different from the.
Since I have also judged against what I project, I continue to attack it because I continue to keep it separated. By doing this unconsciously, I try to keep the fact that I attacked myself out of awareness, and so imagine that I have made myself safe.
So it is. Okay.
So I've got to pop out for an hour. I'll come back if it's still on, yeah?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll
okay.
probably still be going. It's quite a long section. So
Okay, so I'll see you later. Thank you.
See you a bit later, yeah. Okay, so let's just do that. Okay, so moving on to number 3. Felt myself release in that reading. Nice. Oh, I think it's quite powerful. These little readings, it's like really a download of each paragraph, isn't it? Maybe we should actually do that. Is it helpful to put this summary at the end? What do you think?
Yes.
So it's all in one go. Yeah. Personalized summary, so you can read it in one go rather than underneath.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. All right. So let's have a look at number 3 then. Your projection. Zoom down here quickly. And I'll bullet point it. It might be good. And it's in clear bullet points. Okay, so number 3. Who would like to read that? Christine, you want to read? Yet projection will always hurt you.
Yet projection will always hurt you. Should I read just the alternative?
Yeah, I think could probably read. There isn't too much to translate. Just ego and companions. So, yet projection will always hurt you.
Yet projection will always hurt you. It reinforces your belief in your own split mind. And its only purpose is to keep the separation going. It is solely a device of the belief in separation to make you feel different from your companions and separated from them.
Should we make, what do you think? I mean, companions is translation of brothers. Make you feel different from others and separated. Different from others or other people. Do you think that's better?
Yes.
Hmm.
Shall I continue?
Yeah.
The belief in separation justifies this on the grounds that it makes you seem better than they are. Thus, it's obscuring your equality with them still further.
I think I'm going to change this. Solid device. Make you feel different from other. Device of the belief in separation. The separate self justifies this, rather than the belief justifies. Let's say the separate self. So the ego makes you seem better than they are, because that's now, yeah, identifying yourself as a self. Okay.
Projection and attack are inevitably related because projection is always a means of justifying attack.
Okay.
Anger without projection is impossible.
Okay, I understand what he's saying there.
Yes, I think I do.
Okay. All right. So let's read it and then I'll ask you to just explain it.
The belief in separation uses projection only to destroy your perception of both yourself and your companions.
And we'll make that the separate self.
And others. The process begins by excluding something that exists in you, but which you do not want, and leads directly to excluding you from your companion or from others.
Okay. So what is he? What's he saying there in
That your
summary?
that your separate self this belief in separation makes you feel different from others, and you justify your feeling better than they are by projecting it out. Judging, attacking, yeah. The separate self uses projection only to destroy your perception of yourself and others.
See why projection and attack are inevitably related. Projection is a means of justifying attack. Anger without projection is impossible. You must project out of your mind onto someone or something else in order to get angry with them.
Yes,
Perceive them as something other than you.
And you think it's the anger that is separating you from others. Meanwhile, it's the process excluding that directly excludes you from others.
So the real problem is, the idea of separation. This is how this mechanism is this projection, and you project out anger, which happens in many forms. It's using this projection mechanism to destroy your perception of both yourself and others. Because you now have a belief that you're a separate self, right? So your perception is distorted, and you're no longer able to believe that you're one self. The process begins by excluding something that exists in you, but which you do not want, leads directly to excluding you from other people. So that's quite important.
Yes.
The projection is a result of denying something in ourselves. So we don't want to see our ego, the stuff in us that's buried, that's hidden. So we then project it onto someone else. We say, you're the one who's got it. You're the one who's guilty. I don't have it. You have it. But the more we do that, the more we actually say, no, I do have it, and I'm reacting to it. I'm trying to get rid of it by projecting it out, but actually just keeping it. I'm not letting it go by doing it. So I'm actually reinforcing it. And that leads me directly to exclusion from other people. So projection and separation from others are directly related. And he's explaining how the mechanism works. Is that clear?
Yes. So healing the split mind is really about owning what you don't like in yourself and letting it go. Simple.
Yeah. No, this mechanism of projection is being recognized in psychology. People like Jung saw clearly that what you see in another is actually in yourself. It's your own repressed nature that you haven't acknowledged, that you then see in someone else and project onto them. And the more you judge them, you hate them and attack them, the more you actually hate yourself. So it's a projection of your own self-loathing, which is, when you understand what's happening, it's crazy to do that. The only thing to do is recognize that self that you loathe is not real. It's not true. It's not who you really are. And so you let it go. Okay. Any other thoughts, comments on that number 3? It's quite profound. And it happens so often. So, we're entrenched in separation in this world. Projection will always hurt you. Okay, so let's personalize it. Just
Projection will always hurt me.
yeah.
It reinforces my belief in my own split mind. And its only purpose is to keep the separation going. It is solely a device of the belief in separation to make me feel different from other people.
Yeah.
My belief in separation to make me feel different from other people and separated from them. My separate self justifies this on the grounds that it makes me seem better than they are. Thus, so obscuring my equality with them still further.
Excellent.
Projection and attack are inevitably related because projection is always a mean of justifying attack. Anger without projection is impossible.
Maybe my projection and attacks are inevitably related because my projection is always a means of justifying my attack. Now, it's kind of powerful, isn't it? It's like, whoa. We'll see how this one goes. Say it to ourselves. Anger without projection. So I cannot get angry
if I don't project.
I cannot be angry without projection. I think that's clear enough.
My separate self uses projection only to destroy my perception of both myself and others. My perception of both myself and others.
Yeah.
My process or this process begins by excluding something that exists in me, but which I do not want.
Or what we say when I exclude. When I exclude something that exists in me, but which
I do not want.
I might say that seems to exist. To exclude something that seems to exist in me, but which I do not want, is directly to excluding me from other people. It leads directly to me excluding
or alienating.
I think let's keep with the exclude because he's used that throughout, tracking back to the previous paragraph. The other people, excluding other people, excluding you from other people, excluding leads to me, excluding other people. Is that enough for me? Directly to excluding you from other people is directly to me excluding other people. I think that's clear. So I'm excluding them in my own perception, excluding other people in my perception. Okay, do you want to read that from the top? Just make sure we're happy before you do it slowly.
Yet projection will always hurt me. It reinforces my belief in my own split mind.
Yeah, you can go a bit faster because we're just reading it through. Make sure it's all okay.
And its only purpose is to keep my separation going. It is solely a device of my belief in separation to make me feel different from other people and separated from me.
Separated from them. Yeah, I'm separated from them.
Okay. My separate self justifies this on the grounds that it makes me seem better than they are, so obscuring my equality with them still further. My projection and attacks are inevitably related because my projection is always a means of justifying my attack. I cannot be angry without projection. My separate self uses projection only to destroy my perception of both myself and others. This process begins when I exclude something that seems to exist in me, but which I do not want, and leads directly to me excluding other people in my perception of them.
Okay. So you want to read that
Slowly.
slowly, yeah. Okay, so just take a nice deep breath in, out through the nose, get into a nice rhythm. Follow the breath, listen to the words, and say the words slowly in between in the gaps between phrases and sentences as Christine says them.
Yet projection will always hurt me. It reinforces my belief in my own split mind, and its only purpose is to keep my separation going. It is solely a device of my belief in separation to make me feel different from other people and separated from them. My separate self justifies this on the grounds that it makes me seem better than they are. So obscuring my equality with them still further. My projection and attacks are inevitably related because my projection is always a means of justifying my attack. I cannot be angry without projection. My separate self uses projection only to destroy my perception of both myself and others. This process begins when I exclude something that seems to exist in me, but which I do not want, and leads directly to me excluding other people in my perception of them.
And so it is. Okay, well done. It's powerful.
What occurred to me was that
Mhm.
separation is like war, that we're at war with everyone that's seamless around us. That's what the vision I had while we were doing that passage. Wow. At war with everyone.
It's insane, isn't it?
Mm.
But, he's asking us to see it and understand that it's our own projection that's doing it to us. Which means that it's within our power to stop it. Stop the war and forgive instead.
And use the power of love.
Yeah. It's the only way. Sally's gone. Okay. So move on to, oh yeah, she's come back. Move on to number 4. Nice short one. So we're cycling back to Sally again, I think. Number 4, if you want to read number 4 for us, Sally, it's a pretty short one.
Is it? Susie had a go. Do you want to have a go, Susie? Or are you keeping quiet?
No? Hasn't Susie read? I think Susie read.
No. I don't
Hasn't she?
know.
Okay.
I think Elaine did.
Why are you
Later.
so on the ball, Sally? Why couldn't you
I didn't know if you were trying to avoid or you felt left out. Wasn't it?
No, I wanted it. I thought, oh great, he's not going to
Small
read
one.
it.
Short one.
Fantastic.
You got the shortest one of the lot.
That was a very good paragraph, Christine. Very good.
Yeah.
Very pertinent for me.
And me.
I feel
Mm.
like
Really,
the whole
I
world
felt,
is fighting with me.
yeah,
Mm.
I felt that within.
I got so excited I pushed the wrong button and came out soon.
Thanks, gone. Yeah.
You
It's,
projected
this
on
is-
yourself then, Sally. That's not a very good thing.
I was opting out of the war.
Mm.
Yeah.
This is really, it's fundamental to how the ego works. Very important we see it. Because otherwise it just continues. We continue this insane game of projecting and projection, attack. And it's really all happening from our own minds.
And we're doing it more to the
Doesn't seem
people
like
we love the most, aren't we? The people that are closest to us is the ones we're doing it to more because we see them as special relationships around us.
And it's just a
Yeah,
habit.
it's interesting. Then it seems to be more justified because they're special. You wouldn't dream of treating a stranger, but someone who's especially close to you, so-called, special love, can be treated however. It's extraordinary.
Mm.
But we have to see it and accept the responsibility for letting it go, saying, you know, this is your own belief in your separate self is manifesting through this continuous projection onto others, and then the attacks that seem to be justified. And you see how entrenched it is in people's thought system, in your own thought system, in the world. This is the work. You've got to undo that. Otherwise, you just continue doing it, and you're at war with others in life.
That paragraph was really good to see how bitter we become and how you could see this being played out. I
And
mean,
self-righteous, also self-righteous.
Yeah.
I'm right and you're wrong.
Yeah.
And you wonder where it's coming from, but it's just your perception, isn't it? And that's what keeps you in that loop.
It is.
Outstanding.
So, yeah, it's a good paragraph, isn't it? So, happy to move on to number 4. Okay. So,
Just the
learned, however.
alternative.
Yeah, I guess we stick to the alternative because we've done that for the previous 3.
Yeah. We have learned, however, that there is an alternative to projection. Every ability of the belief in separation has a better use.
Let's change that to always like the however's at the beginning of the sentence, I think. Yeah, we've learned that there is an alternative to projection.
Every ability of the belief in separation has a better use because its abilities are directed by the mind, which has a better voice. The remembrance of perfect love extends and the belief in separation projects.
I'm going to make the separate self, I think. Separate self's abilities. Belief in separation projects. You know, that's okay because it's been contrasted. It depends on which level we're looking at. So yeah, belief in separation has abilities is a bit strange, but separate self having abilities is much more understandable. As the goals are opposed, so is the result.
I'm just thinking goals. As their goals are opposed, so is the result. Just think of something else apart from a goal, but
yeah, as their
say meaning, as their meanings are opposed or not really.
aims, maybe. Aims more
Yeah.
the goal. The
Yeah.
aims are opposed. So is the result. Okay, so what's he saying here in summary? It's just on this. So what's he saying in paragraph 4?
It's letting you know about the voice, the remembrance of perfect love.
Yeah.
And how the voice of the ego is the one that projects. As their aims are opposed, does that mean that's their opposite?
Yeah.
As their aims are opposed, so is the result.
Opposed,
Yeah. I guess I'm really sensing that right now.
Mm,
Or I'm noticing that within me.
mm. Yeah, so extension and projection, these are movements of the mind. Saying you're going to be doing one or the other.
Yeah.
Inevitable that the mind extends or projects. It's one or the other. So you must choose which one you're going to do. If you project, then you're denying something that you don't want to see in yourself, projecting them to someone else and excluding them. And that's separation, clearly. And as Sally said, you're at war with everyone and everything. It doesn't feel very good. And then extension is this extension of this remembrance of perfect love, where you seek to share that. Or extension is sharing, isn't it? Sharing with someone else or other people, and it feels very different. Got a very different quality to projection. The one sort of feels a heart opening and expanding, the other one feels separating and contracting.
Make love, not war.
Yeah.
Yes.
Extend love, to translate it. So extend love and don't project war.
It's a pity, does it use extend in that paragraph, does it? Because you're just talking about, it's not really meant. Oh yeah, love extends.
Yeah, extends. Yeah. Perfect love extends, and the belief in separation projects. So he's using different words to describe a subtlety of the mind, how our minds work. And you got to understand what the point is pointing to. What does it feel like when you extend, as opposed to when you project? If you can get clear on that, then you can make the distinction and go, okay, well, I know what projection feels like because it's that feeling. It's always got anger at its core. It's like you exclude yourself. Whenever you do that, you exclude yourself. Now you've done it. That's an exclusion right there. You just separate yourself. So you got to notice when that happens in your mind. So that's projection. And go, no, I don't want that, because that keeps the belief in separation going. And that's my whole problem. I keep the belief in separation going, and so all of its consequences keep going, and I keep suffering and dying as a result. So you catch yourself and say, no, I want to extend instead. Okay, so let me correct that and understand that person is one with me. And if I feel that oneness, then naturally there's an extension, there's a heart expansion, there's an opening, and I'm not excluding them. I feel that I'm one with them. And it's very difficult to put into words, but you've got to get quite good at determining the difference between these feelings. And then you can make a clear choice. Once you understand what's what, you can choose how you're going to direct your mind. So he's using precise language. He uses extend for the Holy Spirit, for the remembrance of perfect love, and he uses project for the
it's amazing. I couldn't see the word extend.
And we've got to translate
where my mind is.
Yeah. Extends and projects. Yeah. So there's a language to this course. It's important to understand what the terms refer to. Extend is always of the spirit, and project is always from the ego. He uses them consistently throughout the course. And then it is to take it to the next level and say, well, what does that actually, how does that translate into a feeling in myself? How does extension feel as opposed to projection? So if you can get that down, you understand the distinction, then you've got a clear basis for choosing, making the right choice rather than the wrong choice. Okay, so I think we've kind of summarized that. Any other comments on number 4? Okay, so let's personalize it.
So I feel like I'm on the edge of understanding something, but it's not quite sunk in yet. But it's something about how to have a body, it's unloving, because in love we wouldn't have a body, would we?
Yeah.
So in a way, it's nearly impossible to be in unconditional love with
The
your
body is a projection of an unloving mind. Yeah.
Wow.
So every ability, every body, the fact that we seem to have bodies, the illusion we seem to have bodies, is a symptom of a split mind. It's a symptom that the mind has projected itself. It's literally gone out of its mind and into a body. And we now project all of this self-hatred and anger, fear, guilt onto the body and onto other bodies, our body and other bodies. It doesn't really matter. The ego, as long as it's projecting, it's happy. Not really happy, but you know what I mean. It's satisfied that this is now its thought system and its separate self is being confirmed. So this is why we get sick, because we project onto this body, and all of that toxic belief goes into the body and then manifests as things like cancer and other diseases. Or we project it onto others. We think we're getting rid of it by attacking others, but actually we're attacking ourselves. All self-attack.
Yet we're showing in the world that it's good to exercise, and people are so vain, aren't they? And you see it all the time, don't you? I remember when I first started coaching and people wanted to get their nails and hair done rather than go and have a coaching session. I was always baffled, but it's still the case now. People still want their nails and have a coffee rather than.
Because they identify themselves as bodies.
Yeah.
And that, from that perspective, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, well, my nails, I want nice nails, I want to look good. It gives them a sense of false self-esteem. Oh, look, my nails are really good. So I feel a bit enhanced. But it's a very shaky foundation, isn't it? It's like, well, the body is not permanent, so nothing you do to beautify it, glorify it, or try and keep it going, make it young, is going to work. Ultimately, it's a decaying. It's going to decay and it's going to die. So the self-concept based on that is extremely fragile. And you do see it. If people identify with the body, their self-concept is very, very fragile and vulnerable to seeming attacks. Just someone who's identified with the body, and you say, well, make a remark about their body that's not very nice. They'll devastate it. Oh my God! But if you're not a body, it doesn't really matter what they say about your body, because I'm not that. So you're insulting my vehicle, but it's just a vehicle. It's not really. It's not me. Okay, so my remembrance of perfect love extends, and my belief in separation projects. Their aims are opposed, so is the result. So are their results. I think would be better, don't you think? So as their aims are opposed, so are their results. Okay, so you're ready to do the personalized summary. And I stop here. I did stop that. Okay. All right, so just take a deep breath in. And just connect with your breath. Exhale. Inhale, get into a nice rhythmical breathing pattern, and then listen to these words. And in the
However-
gaps, just
however-
say your... Sorry,
how-
start again, Sue.
However, I have learned that there's an alternative to projection. Every ability of my separate self has a better use because its abilities are directed by my mind, which has a better voice. My remembrance of perfect love extends, and my belief in separation projects. As their aims are opposed, so are their results.
So it is. Okay, so number 4, done. Number 5. I think we're going back to Sally, isn't it?
Me, yeah.
Mhm.
The remembrance of perfect love begins by perceiving you as perfect. Knowing this perfection is shared, he recognizes it. It recognizes it in others, thus strengthening it in both. Instead of anger, this arouses love for both because it establishes inclusion. Beautiful. Perceiving equality, the remembrance of perfect love perceives equal needs. Needs?
Okay.
When it says needs, what does that exactly mean? Because surely remembrance of perfect love has no needs. And if truth, we're complete.
Well, I think we're talking about the only need that there is in this world, the apparent need for at-one-ment,
Okay.
or for returning home, reuniting with our source, and in the process with each other. So equal needs, the only need that everyone has universally
Right, yeah.
is this one need for at-one-ment.
So I always
For
think
love.
of need as being an ego lack. So that's just
Well, it is. I mean, without the idea that we'd separate it from love, we wouldn't have a need, would we?
Yeah.
So the at-one-ment is an illusion because there's no real need, there's no real lack. But within the illusion, to recognize that that's the one need that you and everyone else has and shares is part of the healing.
Yeah. So a perceived need.
Yeah, it perceives. Remember, we're talking about the domain of perception. So it says it perceives equal needs, even though it knows, because it's connected to perfect oneness, that in truth there are no needs. In truth, we are perfect, whole, complete. There's no need. In our separated state, we seem to have a need, and that need is for at-one-ment. Which is why this course was given in the first place. So you had to recognize the apparent need we have, even though it's not real, to meet us where we are in our state of lack, and say, okay, well, I'll help you out of this. to help you out of this, I must meet you where you are in your current state of need, but reinterpret all the needs that you think you have, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, all of that. So no, there's only one need in all of that. And that one need is for at one moment with your source and all of your brothers. That's the universal core. And interesting in the transpersonal psychology, things like Viktor Frankl's logotherapy, Maslow went transpersonal as well. His highest step was transpersonal, transcendent. They understand that the only need is to transcend the separation, separate self, and to find a deeper meaning, which is love. So transpersonal psychology, which is relatively new, but in the last sort of 50 years came about, people like Maslow and Viktor Frankl pioneering it. It was really saying that there's only one universal need, that's love, in essence. To transcend the separate self and find a deeper meaning and significance to life than just life in a separated, even a self-actualized self. I'm a separate self. I'm self-actualizing. I'm doing my thing. I'm working at my optimum level. I'm experiencing peak experiences. I'm in flow. That's nice, but ultimately what we really want is we want divine love. And, the self-actualization can lead us there, but it's another level, isn't it? So I think perhaps what you've experienced is some of that transcendent. You said you had a shift Thursday or whatever it was.
Mm.
Let's have a look at Maslow's hierarchy. And we go to this one. So there you can see the so really all these other needs are egoic needs. Physiological, that's of the body, safety, belonging and love. We're talking about special love here. Like I want to belong to some group, family. I want to belong to a partner. I want, what we call love, but actually that's attachment. Special love, you could say. Esteem, so that's self-esteem in ego terms. I want a sense of being a bigger self. These are things like I want a bigger bank account. I want a nicer car. I want to be recognized as someone important. You remember the guy in the Matrix, the traitor, Cypher. Remember that conversation he has? And he says to him, I want to be someone important, like an actor or something. That's exactly, esteem. I want people to look up to me because I'm important, even though I've sold my friends down the river, betrayed them. So that's, self-esteem in ego terms. So you're trying to become a better separate self, which isn't going to heal the separation at all. And then as you start getting to the higher levels, cognitive, aesthetic, it does start to get a bit more transpersonal. You're starting to move a little bit out of the separate self. At the highest level of, say, art, you can just appreciate beauty for its own sake. You can just go, wow, that's, and it activates something in you that's not just the separate self. And then you had self-actualization. So I think, Sally, your whole life you've been self-actualizing, haven't you?
Mm.
It's on a path of growth, and you're like, okay, it's this tool, it's this technique, I'm growing. And then suddenly you've gone, okay, I just dropped the self that's trying to self-actualize. And there's a transcendent awareness that's beyond the self. And that's what this Maslow and other theorists found, that you beyond any sense of a personal self, there is a transcendent level of awareness, which is beyond. There's no personal self anymore. So that's kind of where you been playing in that a long time, but there's still a self trying to be better, isn't it? In some
Mm.
way.
Mm.
Whereas a transpersonal, like there's no self left. So
Yeah.
there's nothing left to do. There's
I
nothing
had-
left to do because there's just an awareness. There's no self to actualize anymore.
Yeah, I didn't realize I was trying as much as I was trying. Yeah.
Mm.
But now I find it's quite difficult to see it from the other view. So when somebody's talking about hating their body, I just can't put myself in their shoes anymore. So, yeah,
Mm.
tricky conversations.
Well, you can, empathy is understanding, but, you can stay at that level, understand, but not go there, not going there. Just like, okay, well, I'm here. So I can, the art of it, of being a good teacher is to try and pull people up. So you can empathize because you know how the ego works. We maybe you've forgotten personally, but we know theoretically, and then you can try and pull people up to another level. But you will find that there's such a gap. If someone's on the lower body level, such a gap that it's quite hard to bridge that gap. Maybe
Yeah.
that's what you're finding.
Yeah, that's what I found. Yeah.
Because there's all these other levels in between, and they haven't gone through that. And you're at transpersonal going, well, there is no self. And they're still very identified with their separate self and their body, and they're different worlds,
Yeah.
completely different perceptions.
So, mhm.
Okay, so let's continue. Where are we? Number 5.
We're on the alternatives doing something, weren't we? Mm.
Do you want to read the
I'll just
read number 5?
Yeah. The remembrance of perfect love begins by perceiving you as perfect. Knowing this perfection is shared, it recognizes it in others, thus strengthening it in both. Instead of anger, this arouses love for both because it establishes inclusion. Perceiving equality, the remembrance of perfect love perceives equal needs. That's where we go up to, didn't we? This invites at one-ment automatically, because at one-ment is the one need in this world that is universal. To perceive yourself this way is the only way in which you can find happiness in the world. That is because it is the acknowledgement that you are not in this world, for the world is unhappy.
So what is he? What's he saying there?
That we're already perfect, and we can share that by perceiving others the same. And that's the only way to be happy, to acknowledge that we are at one.
Okay, just say that again. Sorry, I haven't recorded that.
I remember what I said. It's about perceiving that we already are remembrance of perfect love, and we already are perfect, and that we can share that by recognizing others are also extensions of perfect love, and feel love for all perceived aspects in this illusion. That we're all equal, we all have the equal need to return to remembering perfect love. And then we'll be at one. And that's the only place you can be happy.
Yeah, very well summarized. So the one universal need is at one-ment, and meeting that need is anything. It will make us happy. executive summary of that. Okay, so so let's personalize this.
My remembrance of perfect love begins by my perceiving I am perfect.
Perceiving you as perfect. Right, yeah, okay. Begins by perceiving I am perfect.
Knowing this perfection is shared and I recognize it in others, thus strengthening it in us both.
And recognize it in others. Okay, yeah, I recognize it in others, thus strengthening it in
Us both.
both. Yeah, that's all right. So let's just make a. I'm not a fan of thus really. It's quite an old fashioned. So we'll say so. So establish inclusion. Where are we? I'm looking for thus. I'll find it for some reason.
Third one down or something.
Number 3, I think.
Number 3.
Second row in the middle. Thus strengthening it in.
Knowing this perfection. Right, there we go. So strengthening it in both. Okay. So
Would it be so strengthening it in us both? Or is that coming away from the oneness?
I recognize it in others. So strengthening in both. It's talking about me and others.
Recognizing
I'm Stephen, I am perfect, knowing this perfection. I recognize it as in others, so strengthening it in me and them. But I think in both kind of works quite neat. I recognize in others, so strengthening it in both. I suppose me and them. So this is how what he's describing is how extension works, you see.
Yeah.
How does extension actually work?
Yeah.
As opposed to anger and projection.
Yeah. Instead of anger, this arouses love for us both. Because it establishes inclusion or oneness.
Yeah, as opposed to exclusion.
All right.
Suppose we could say because it includes rather than excludes. It's quite nice.
Okay. Perceiving equality, the remembrance of perfect love perceives equal needs. I perceive equal needs. Perceiving equality.
My remembrance
Of perfect love.
Perceives equal needs.
This invites at-one-ment automatically because at-one-ment is the one need in this world that is universal. Is that personalized enough?
Nice for one month because
I
I think because it's talking about a universal need, it's difficult to say my in this context, so I believe that.
To perceive myself this way is the only way in which I can find happiness in the world. That is because it is the acknowledgement that I am not in this world. For the world is unhappy. Okay, I'll read it from the top.
Yeah, great.
My remembrance of perfect love begins by perceiving I am perfect. Knowing this perfection is shared, I recognize it in others, so strengthening it in both me and them. Instead of anger, this arouses love for us both, because it includes rather than excludes. Perceiving equality, my remembrance of perfect love perceives equal needs. This invites at one-ment automatically, because at one-ment is the one need in this world that is universal. To perceive myself this way is the only way in which I can find happiness in the world. That is because it is the acknowledgement that I am not in this world, for the world is unhappy. Yeah.
Logic is simple. So what is he saying here?
I'm not in the world, that's for sure. Saying that if I perceive I am an extension of perfect love, I'm perceiving I'm perfect, and then I can share it with others, which is inclusive rather than exclusive of love. And just recognizing that we all have the same equal need of remembering that we're perfect love, which automatically makes us at one. And so then we are happy because we are in the oneness rather than the world.
And the logic is impeccable. It's the only way you can find happiness in the world. Okay, so you seem to be in the world. That's because there's an acknowledgement that I'm not in this world, because the world is unhappy. So if I perceive myself in an unhappy place, and that's reality, that's real, then I'm going to be unhappy. But if I perceive that I'm not in this world, it doesn't matter if the world's unhappy, because I'm not really here. So it doesn't really matter. You see, the logic is flawless.
And it works the other way as well, isn't it? Because when you're happy, you're not perceiving the world.
Yeah.
It just, yeah.
I mean, people might say, like Elaine would say, well, if I see a kitten, that makes me happy. Or Lynn sees a sunset, beautiful nature picture makes me happy. The question is, what is it that's really making you happy? Is it the visual image? The thing, is it the sensation of it? Or is it something in you that gets activated by that image? You see? So you see a kitten or a sunset, there's a feeling that arises in you that is beyond the image. It's not really about the form of it. It's more about a deeper feeling of, we could call it love.
Yeah, you're remembering the love, aren't you? By seeing that image.
At that moment, it gives rise to a deeper feeling. You go, I just love that, whatever it is. But it's really just a catalyst. It's a trigger for that feeling to arise. Now, this training is saying, but you can have that feeling all the time. You don't need a specific trigger like a beautiful sunset or a kitten. You can actually perceive that all the time in everything, because it is everywhere. It's a fundamental awareness,
and you don't
without which nothing would exist.
You don't want to attach your happiness to something in the illusion, because when it's not,
that's the problem. Then it becomes a special love. The ego can direct that and say, okay, well, if it's genuine, a genuine connection, that's dangerous for it. So it then directs it into, oh, well, it tells your mind that you need that experience, whatever it is, in order to be happy. Okay, so you need to go into nature all the time to be happy, or you need to, cuddle kittens, or you need to have these specific experiences in order to access that feeling and be happy. Now your happiness is conditional on your external experience, and what's there. So, well, if there's nature, but then if I'm in a town or a city, then I'm not as happy, because I've set up the condition that I can only be happy when I have that particular experience of nature, or whatever it is. We've all got different things, and all of that that's all special love. You see, you say, oh, well, I love this more specially than something else. It's all special love. Whereas this universal love is saying, no, I perceive it everywhere in everything. There's one equal need that everything has, which is the at-one-ment. And that's all, that's the only true need that there is in reality. And only when I identify with that need will I be happy. Nothing else is really going to make me happy. So the formula is very simple. Oneness brings happiness. Love brings happiness. Genuine love, not special love. And anything else will keep you in an unhappy state, in an unhappy world. The research, validates this. I mentioned the Grant study, which is 80 years of research done in the US with some Harvard graduates, and then they did another one in parallel with a lower income group, and they surveyed them every year or 2 years over their lifetime. And they found that the people who had like deep, meaningful relationships, like they'd gone beyond the special self, and there was a deep connection with a partner or family, were universally more happy. And so they concluded, love is happiness. Very simple. That was the conclusion after 80 years of research. Genuine love, like an authentic love, not a special love for a person or a thing or a substance. That didn't cut it. It was a genuine connection, a deeper love with people that did it. So the research, supports this, exactly what Yeshua was saying, what pretty much every spiritual teaching has said. Love is love, and automatically find the other. But it requires that you go outside of your separate self. You can't find it within the construct of the separate self. It's not possible. Because by definition, the separate self excludes. As he said, it dissociates and excludes. So you're dissociating and excluding others, and that's going to make you unhappy, because then you're not in oneness. And when you separate and you're not connected to your source and others in that oneness, you will feel unhappy. It's just inevitable. Because you see, that unhappiness is the mind's then call. Unhappiness is the call to correct. If you are happy in separation, there could never be a healing. And there wouldn't need to be, because you would be happy. But we're not happy in separation. So then, the universal call, the need is there to atone and become happy. Okay?
Yeah.
Happy with that?
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm not in this world. I'm very happy. Thank you.
Yeah. But you can kind of live in the world for a while. That's the paradox of it. You can be in it for a while. It's okay, because you're not that attached to it. It's not able to affect you. And that's the only way to be happy. So there's many teachings that try and help you to find happiness in the world, and they all fail, because you're saying you can't find happiness in the world. If you look for happiness, those. You're probably familiar with them. If you've had a long spiritual journey, be grateful. Think of 3 things in the world that you're grateful for. Those kinds of affirmations and stuff. That's an attempt to find happiness in the world, in form. And Yeshua's saying, don't even bother. It's not, just find it in the transcendent. You must go beyond the world to really find authentic happiness. You have to look beyond the idea of separation entirely. Okay, so shall we do number 5 in the meditation? So I'm just going to stop this and start the recording. Okay, so close your eyes, take a nice deep breath in and out. Just get into a rhythmical pattern of breathing, and just say the words after Sally in the gaps, slowly and with meaning and intent.
My remembrance of perfect love
My remembrance of it.
begins by perceiving I am perfect. Knowing this perfection is shared. I recognize it in others. So strengthening it in both me and them. Instead of anger, this arouses love for us both, because it includes rather than excludes. Perceiving equality, my remembrance of perfect love perceives equal needs. This invites at-one-ment automatically, because at-one-ment is the one need in this world that is universal. To perceive myself this way is the only way in which I can find happiness in the world. That is because it is the acknowledgement that I am not in this world, but the world is unhappy. And so it is.
Amen. Okay, really powerful stuff. So aware of the time. I'm at Deborah's, so my son's coming home in about 10 minutes or so. I think we've got time for one more paragraph. Then if we want to reconvene in an hour, we could do something a bit later. So say 5 o'clock. Actually, it would be about 5:30, I think. Or I'll just finish this on my own. I'll send out the translation and finish the summary and stuff on my own. What's everyone's feeling?
I've got to come off the call now and I'm working for the rest of the evening, so I'm going to say goodbye. But thank you very much.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
A good session. So shall we, Susie, Christine, you want to continue?
Can do another chapter, will you?
We'll do another one more paragraph, yeah?
Okay. Not
All
chapter,
right.
I meant it's so long.
Another chapter. We'd be here until tomorrow afternoon. We did another chapter. How about that for Course in Miracles Marathon? So translate one chapter in a row, one session.
Crazy.
It would take 2 days, I think. At the pace we go. Anyway, okay. So you want to read number 6 in the alternative version.
I'm getting very tired.
Okay. So do you want? Can you carry on for another 10 minutes? We're going to do one more paragraph.
Okay, Deal, you do those translation, I mean the meaning of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
The deal. You're too tired to
I'm too tired.
do that. Okay.
How can
So-
you How can you find joy in a joyless place except by realizing that you are not there?
That's a great line, isn't it?
Wow. Yeah.
How else can you find joy in a joyless place except by realizing that you're not there? So obvious. The logic is impeccable, but just think of them of how you've tried to find joy in a joyless place your whole life. That's what human life is about.
That's a great tagline for a happiness coach.
Yeah. People might not understand it.
No, exactly.
By realizing you're not there, what do you mean? Well, it means you're not in the world. Okay. Well, it takes it to an entirely different level, doesn't it? It's not like you can't. Thing with a happiness coach, you can't really help people to find happiness in their separate self. And I think that's probably where you struggle. Because you're not going to find happiness if you identify with the separate self. And that's what most coaches are trying to do. Oh, well, I'll show you how to be a happier separate self. And yes, just saying, forget it. It's not going to happen ever. You know, there'll always be the unhappiness because the nature of the separate self is to be unhappy because it's separated from love. So you have to go outside of the construct to find happiness, which means you have to go beyond this world. Okay. Sorry, Christine. Carry on.
Most people would interpret that as you've got to die.
You've got to die to the separate self. You know,
Yes.
but
Well,
you
no,
can
you've
die
got
to
to
the
die to
separate
get
self
out of this world.
and still be alive in the body for a while. You know, you're not attached to it, but the body continues while the separate self has disappeared. That's the enlightened state, which you know has happened many times in history with different people like Yeshua and the Buddha, many others. So it's possible, just not normal.
Exceptional.
Yeah, it is quite exceptional, but it's it's possible. So if you really want to be extraordinary, that's extraordinary. That's completely out of the ordinary in this world. If you can do that.
Okay.
Okay. You cannot be.
You cannot be anywhere. Pure formless awareness of perfect love did not put you. And pure formless awareness, perfect love created you as part of it. That is both where you are and what you are. It is completely unalterable. It is total inclusion. You cannot change it now or ever, and it is forever true. It is not a belief, but a fact. Anything that pure formless awareness of perfect love created is as true as he is.
As it is. Created would be extended. Extended. Extends, actually. Extends, we'll make it present tense.
Perfect love extends is as true as it is. Its truth lies only in its perfect inclusion in it, who alone is perfect.
Maybe we should just simplify that. What is perfect? The truth lies only in its perfect inclusion in what is. The what is. Muji, are you familiar with Muji? He calls this presence, God, what is. The what is. What is perfect. Okay, carry on.
To deny this is to deny yourself and it, since it is impossible to accept one without the other.
Hmm. Yeah. Possible to accept one without the other. Since truth lies only as a perfect conclusion in what is perfect. We can't accept source without its extension. Extends. We must accept that everything is like the source. In other words, we must include all of our brothers in our love. It's possible to accept one without the other. So if we deny love to others, we exclude ourselves from them, then we will be excluding ourselves from our source. We will be in a state of separation, which is why Yeshua had the two great commandments. He said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul. So that's, in our translated language, pure formless awareness of perfect love. You merge with it, you become one with it. And then you extend that to your brothers. So the second command was love your neighbors as you are. So extend this love to them and see it in them. Otherwise, if you don't meet condition 2, love your neighbors, you deny the first one. It's not possible to deny the love to your brothers and then also know God. Do you see that? Because it automatically separates you in your mind, and then that separation is no longer pure formless awareness of perfect love. Now you're in a state of separation. Okay, so I'll just do the summary quickly. So what's he saying here in paragraph 6? Lovely line, how else can you find joy in a joyous place except by realizing that you're not there? You can't really be anywhere that pure formless awareness of perfect love didn't put you. So we are actually in truth. We are in truth in that state of awareness. That is our true nature. It's completely unchangeable. It's totally inclusive. Cannot be changed now or ever. It's forever true. It's not a belief, but a fact. So pointing to this ultimate transcendent reality very clearly in this paragraph, and then saying, but the extension of this is as true as it is. So the extension of it, which is all of us, we must be included in this. We must be as equally true as the source is. And when we deny this, we say, you're not of God. This is the delusion of many religions. I have God as my God, and you're not of God. You're some kind of heathen or infidel or whatever they want to label people. Then it's really denying the source. To deny this is to deny the source, and so you deny that you are one with this source, and that's the exclusion, and that's the dissociation. So it's very clear, that you must accept your brothers, who are also extensions of this love. You must love them, you must include them, or you deny your source. Hence, the commandments of Yeshua. The Bible is recorded to. He said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind, number 1. And number 2, love your neighbor as yourself. And if you don't love your neighbor, then the first one is going to be denied. You can't honor that one and not love your neighbor. It's not possible, because your awareness gets split and you're no longer in the pure formless awareness of perfect love. Okay, so Let's personalize it. How else can
And
joy and enjoy this price, except by realizing that I am not there? Cannot be anywhere. Perfect love did not put me. Pure formless was perfect love. Extends me as part of it. That is both where I am and what I am. It's completely unalterable. It's total inclusion. I cannot change it now or ever. So really, notice he shortened the sentence. Sentence is very, assertive, short sentences, powerful statements. So this should come across really well in our summary. It's forever true is not a belief, but a fact. Anything that pure formless one is perfect love extends is as true as it is. Oh, okay, I don't think we're going to be able to do the med on this, sadly. So I'll send this out to you later. I'm going to record the rest, and I'll send it out as a document and meditation.
thank you.
Okay.
Thanks,
All
Johnny.
right. All right. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow. 12:30.
I'll see
Tomorrow.
you on Thursday.
Yeah. Lovely. Yeah.
Okay.
Did you get my meeting invitation?
Yes.
Great.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Namaste. Bye for now.